In today's video, we're going to discuss very briefly schooling in Thailand for a foreigner. Can you bring your kids up in Thailand? Can you educate them in Thailand?
Ladies and gentlemen, teachers, families, friends and fellow graduates. After all those years of classes, homework and, let's be honest, a lot of late night cramming, we're finally here. Today, we gather here to celebrate a momentous occasion, our graduation. It feels surreal to stand here, looking out at all of you, as we prepare to close this chapter of our lives and embark on new adventures. We've had our fair share of challenges, impossible tests, awkward group projects, and yes, even the occasional drama, but we've also made amazing memories along the way. Winning games, hanging out with friends, and seeing hard work pay off both academically and socially. Every moment, good and bad, has shaped us into who we are today. To our teachers, thanks for sticking with us, teaching us and sometimes just putting up with us. You've been more than teachers, you've been mentors. To our families and friends, your support has been everything. Thanks for cheering us on, giving us advice and being there through it all. And to my fellow graduates, we did it. We've grown together, laughed together, and maybe even cried together. We've made friendships that will last a lifetime and made memories we'll always cherish. I want to thank everyone that's been a part of my journey, helping me grow and shaping me into the person I am today. And I truly wish the best for all of you. The world out there is huge and full of possibilities. It's okay to feel a bit apprehensive. Change is always scary, but it's also exciting, so embrace it. Take risks, follow your passions, and keep growing as people, but never forget who you are and where you came from. Being here since year 4, I feel as though I've had the opportunity to grow with the school, and I'm really excited to see how BIS will continue to grow as we take our leave. Congratulations, class of 2024. I love you guys. Thank you for making my time here at BIS such a pleasurable experience. Thank you. And next we'd like to welcome up our orchestra to perform. Thank you.
And just like that, it was all over. In the blink of an eye, finished. My son, my only son, graduated yesterday. It was a wonderful experience, went to the school. He's the head boy. He was almost treated like a rock star. He ended the night with a load of money and a load of bouquets of flowers. It was a wonderful experience, and what was more wonderful was all the different teachers, including the headmaster, and coming up and obviously praising him, you know, for his work as head boy and everything else, but praising the growth that he's made, and more than anything else, you know, it's great being told that your son's academically good, but to be told that he's got empathy and that he's got a really kind heart and that he's honest, and all these things break my heart, but in a good way. Listen, I did a deal with the devil about 8 or 9 years ago. You know when you get a voice in your head, do you? Maybe you don't. And I said to this voice, listen, I wasn't feeling very well at the time, and I honestly thought that I was going to die. I wasn't feeling very well, so I said, I did a deal in my head, and I said, look, just let me get through to Jacob's A-levels, let him finish his A-levels, and then I'm like, okay, I can go off into the sunset or whatever. I'm all right with that. You know what? It's here now. It's come really fast, and I'm not all right with that. I'm not all right with that at all. That was a brief moment back then, years ago, when I gave up a little bit, but not anymore. This is the first day of the rest of Jacob's life, and you know what? This is the first day of the rest of my life too. I'm going to take motivation from last night. It's easy to, when you live in a place like this and you live in a bubble, it's easy to kind of hide away from the world a little bit, but I'm going to take inspiration somewhat from last night. I've got to be honest that, you know, I'm a very opinionated man, and when something's broke, I believe don't try and fix it. So over the last 9 years, this remarkable school that my son's been going to, Bromsgrove International School, founded in 15 something in the UK. Anyway, I've been there you know, a dozen times. I've been to a few parent evenings, I've been to some basketball games, I've been to some football games over the years, but apart from that, not really. I have strong opinions, and certain things happen within the school environment, you know, that I may agree with or I may disagree with, and it's not really fair on Jacob for me to be disagreeing with things very strongly. So I've done most of my work as a parent at home. You know, in terms of school, I've driven in there, I've picked him up, etc., but I've tried to keep away somewhat. It's a remarkable school. The teachers have been wonderful, and I just can't tell you I can't tell you how impressed I've been over the last 9 years with this school. I always said when I was younger, I'd never educate my child in a private school. But you know what, when the opportunity came along, not only did I jump at it, I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. I love the man that he's becoming. I love every opportunity that this school has provided for him. He's done everything from debating at United Nations conferences to scoring the last minute three-pointer in his last ever basketball game. I sought out the headmaster last night just to say a quick thanks, Dr. Moore. And like he said, he's always had a bit of a soft spot for Jacob, but it's seemingly that all the staff do or did. And now we move on to the future. It's difficult. It's been a very difficult act over the last 10 years, balancing, you know, Thai and English culture, because for me it's very important that he has both, and he does very much so. And the thought was a few times to maybe go home to the UK, maybe go home for the 3 years, get him on the electoral roll so that he can go to university as a British citizen. Unfortunately, he's not able to do that, but it's a decision we made. It's not like, oh no, we can't do it. It's a decision we made. He's been going to some of the best, or he's been receiving some of the best schooling that he could possibly receive anywhere in the world, and to take him away from that at any time during his childhood would have been tantamount to child abuse. Sticking him in a school with all the council estate kids and everything, he's not used to that. He's lived his life in a bubble. It would have been a nightmare. The school he's been to has been absolutely wonderful, and it's set him up for life. The only problem I have now, he's 18, I'd love to keep him at home for a while, but when you've got a boy as special as this, people will try and take him away, and that's me being dramatic. He's already had a couple of offers, and you know, it could be time for the little bird to fly. It breaks my heart, but it fills me full of pride that I've done, I think, a really decent job. When I look at him and I see, like I said, kindness, empathy, intelligence, I just see a young man who's ready for anything. He really is, and it's been my absolute pleasure. And listen, Jacob, I know you don't watch these videos, but one minute. I have to say, it's been my absolute pleasure. Fucking hell. It's been the pleasure of my lifetime being your father. It really has. I'm so proud. And whatever you go on and do now, whether you achieve or don't achieve, son, I just want you to be happy. Love you. And you know, we have had the odd moments. About 6 months ago, a little bit longer, had to bring him back from the abyss, a little bit, so to speak, where he was struggling a bit with his schoolwork and was enticed by the things that people are enticed with at the age of 17. He was enticed a little bit by alcohol. He was enticed a little bit by the idea of going out. He was enticed by the idea of having a lifestyle where he didn't need to work anymore. But we sat down and we worked through that. We had a great conversation, or a number of conversations, and we pulled it back round, and with the help, the real help of the school and the teachers have been going out the way to give him, you know, extra time and everything else. He's been able to turn it around, and we haven't got his results yet, and honestly it doesn't matter. All I know is he's worked really, really hard. In fact, one of the first or original reasons that I set this channel up originally was prove to Jacob with hard work anything is possible. Didn't quite go the way that I planned, but that's okay. Hopefully, I was going to say hopefully it's helped one tiny bit. I'm sure it hasn't, but anyway, my point is that was one of the original reasons. Now I'm doing it for me. To conclude, can you, could you, or should you educate your foreign children in Thailand? There's a very, very simple answer to that. If one of the parents works at a really decent school, then the answer is wholeheartedly yes. Schooling is very, very expensive here in Thailand, and working class people are very much priced out of the market. The more money you spend, generally speaking, the better education you receive here. So like I said, if you've got a spouse that works in an international school or a really decent Thai school, happy days, crack on. You'll have a wonderful life here. The schooling is great and it's a marvellous place to bring up your children in such an environment. However, if one of the parents doesn't work in a school, or if you're not stinking rich, my suggestion very, very much would be think again. Either re-educate yourself, get a teaching license and everything like that and become a teacher, or make shitloads of money. Because honestly, and I know there's many people here who do this, and they all come to the same conclusion in the end. It's a little bit selfish that they've brought their children up here for a few years at a really poor or just not a very good school because they're so expensive. Even some of the poor schools are a bit expensive.
Just to add to the story a bit, last night he was at prom and he got voted prom king. I'll tell you what, it's best week of his life. But he got in this morning about 5 a.m. Said he'd had a few drinks and stuff, but didn't look that worse for wear for me. And he's promised he's going to go on holiday this week to a big mansion down in Hua Hin with about 15 or 16 friends. Then he's got work. But after that, I think start of August, end of July, me and him are going to go on a road trip and we're going to film loads of content. He wants to do all sorts of stuff. He's very articulate, as you can see by the clip I showed at the start of the video. So the reason for these kind of videos at the moment, I've been really just making content, and now I want to show you a little bit of who I am. I'll do a little bit of vlogging.
That's all, folks. For the first time in 18 years, I'm going to be without my son. I've just dropped him off to work for 5 weeks. Oh, he's going to love it. He's going to thrive. It's a great opportunity and everything else. It's just, yeah, I'm an emotional guy. I find it rather melancholy, to say the least. I've lost my buddy, my right arm, my left leg, my shadow, my 18-year best friend. And now we move on to another era as we drive through this golf course for maybe the last time. It might not be, as my wife still works there, but could be the last time after literally hundreds and hundreds of school runs. I don't know if every parent feels like this, but I've really put a lot in. I gave up, not everything, but I focused everything the last 18 years on making him the best boy, or giving him the best childhood that he could possibly have. And now it's done. We move on to another little chapter. Bless him. He's an absolute natural. He's going to be working at 3 summer camps in a row. Bye giant pylons, bye 36-hole golf course, bye my own little private driveway, walkway, exercise place and everything else. Oh. What the fuck am I gonna do now?